That's why people are calling this like Trump's revenge, because it only takes to go in there and see how the sausage is made to be like, okay, I need to do this next time. Exactly. They say they care because they know that they don't have anything. So let's go from the left wing over to the right, where our boy Vivek Ramaswamy, a short one here. I don't know exactly where this is from, but he goes off.
Second government agency that I will shut down in this country. We should have done it 60 years ago. It's hurt Republicans and Democrats alike. We're going to get it done. It's finally time to shut down the FBI in America.
Let's go. Shut down the FBI in America. What does that mean to you, Melty?
Getting rid of these federal agencies that are trying to enforce all these federal laws on people that they should have they shouldn't be able to do that. There shouldn't be this federal branch of the government that can go from state to state and have full power over every single thing that it touches. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, perfectly said. The fact is that these government agencies have gotten too big. They've gotten too much power, and they've gotten too connected to each other and to the center, whatever that center is. I don't know who is the person who has the most power, but wherever it is, it all circles around that one person or that one group of people. And you know, it's just too much, and we don't need it. We don't need it. We have an infrastructure where there is more. There's more people in the system than need to be by a factor of 10, 20, who knows? And the purposes of the thing itself, we don't even need it. We have other law enforcement agencies.
Well, if you think about like how these federal agencies, they go from state to state and arrest people, but if you just let the states have more power over what they do. And I'm not for the police or anything. Like, I'm not a big fan of police right now, especially what's going on. But I think that's more of a ACAB problem than the actual police problem. But if you give these people more power to do things in their own state and arrest people and do stuff, you're more likely to see more people pass laws that are going to be more effective for their state's criminal system. And if you have these places like California where it's okay to rob and do anything like that, you are definitely are going to see more people in that area, because as more robbers and criminals move there, you're going to see the people more rise up and try to vote out these corrupt politicians that are letting crime happen and vote in ones that are going to be more strong on crime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. And that's really the heart of it, is that we are a constitutional republic. We are a constitutional republic. We are supposed to be able to have almost like each state is its own little country. Because each state is very different. And despite the fact that we are the United States, they are very different. Zippy says the FBI is supposed to be a neutral or I couldn't even get through that straight face. All right. The FBI is supposed to be a neutral organization to help deal with logistics and data, not circumvent local law enforcement. Well, supposed to being the key word. Well said. And Nick said, let's not forget about the ATF, the DEA, the IRS, and we could go on and on. They're all just a waste of money.
If it's got 3 letters and it goes to the federal government, get out of here. We don't want it.
We're done. We're done. All right, let's see what else he has to say about this.
FBI in America. Create something new to take its place, because we are done with the J. Edgar Hoover legacy to let this be a self-governing nation again.
Based. So what do you think that replacement would be?
It would definitely be these local governments actually doing their job and arresting these criminals that are happening. And it may take more states working together. Like, we need, instead of having a big federal bureau, it needs to be more of states logistically coming 2 ways. Like, if someone commits a crime in one state, that state should talk to the other state and say, hey, we have someone that might be there in these locations. You know, it's like what we do now. There's a lot of states that work with each other to get criminals and move them back to other states. We just need, the problem is California won't work with, let's say, a non-liberal state like that, or there's states that just don't want to play this game and they want to harvest these criminals and keep them there. Very
true. Criminals are votes for a single party. Zippy says it's a shame that all the executive alphabet crap is nothing but system bloat and corruption. Though the IRS, I can see a reason for. Hell no! Taxation is theft. Taxation is theft. The executive branch. Well, I mean, you know, this is not supposed to be part of the executive branch, but it's become an arm of the executive branch. Where laws are supposed to go through the legislative branch and go through Congress. But at least, you know, since Obama, if not Bush, this idea of just signing everything into executive order and then having the CIA make sure that everybody's doing whatever, and if they're not, then sending the FBI out or the ATF, all that stuff, you know, that Nick was talking about. They're all working together, and they're supposed to be separate entities. And yeah, if they need to work together, then they can share info. It's not like they have to be completely separated from each other. But they're not supposed to be a club. They're not supposed to be a club at all. Zippy says, well, given how government works, the name will change, but nothing else will. Unfortunately true. Unfortunately, I do agree with you. And that is, you know, a very important thing to think about with this next one here. Oh, Zippy says, no taxes, no government. Let chaos reign. I mean, can it really be that worse than it is right now? Can it really be that worse than it is right now?
Too black-pilled. You're too black-pilled on people, Zip.
I don't know. I'm kind of with him. I'm kind of with him. He says chaos is the best way to solve many problems. I mean, I don't know about that, but from the ashes we rebuild. You know what I mean? You know, speaking of the FBI and the CIA and all these deep state agencies, Tucker's worried.
What do you think the future holds? Is it?
I don't know.
I mean, are they going to let Trump be president?
No.
Well, let's start there. Are they even going to let Trump be president?
Well, no, they're not letting him be president now, really. Is that like they're trying to stop him every way possible? So I'd say that already they're not trying to let him be president, and they're trying to get his name off the ballot and everything. In 2016, they were trying not to let him be president. And I think that's when people ask that question, it's kind of crazy to think, because I don't think it's already happening. Like, we already see that they're not trying to let this person. It's been that way with both sides for a while. Like, people didn't want to let Obama be president, but he became president. It's like each side's going to try to find a way to win.
I agree, but I think that there is a level of them understanding that, like, they didn't want him to win in 2016, but they didn't really realize how much quote unquote damage in their eyes he was actually going to do. And so that brings up the next point here. Well,
I think this is definitely the first time we've ever seen where it's on both sides of the table. We're seeing this, like, we're seeing it with rhinos and Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is really showing how much they work together and how close a congressman is related to a Democrat and a Republican congressperson is way more. They're way more connectable as a person than I would be to a congressperson.
Right. And that's all, like, why all the time we talk about the difference between Republican politicians and conservative voters, and Democratic politicians and liberal voters. As much as there might be a bigger difference on one side, but there is definitely a huge difference between the voting populace and the politician elite class. Nick says, we might have to make them understand he's our president. They work for us. Well said, sir. Well said.
Of course. I mean, look, if, they protested him, they called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work.
Well, I mean, it did work in the sense that they impeached him twice, but they didn't remove him.
He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became...
Well, again, it did work, and he was charged, but he's still on the ballot.
More popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times, and every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. we're speeding toward assassination.
Oh,
obviously.
he said the magic word. He said the magic word. Let's end this poll with 71% of you not even having TikTok. Very interesting. With a new poll, do you think it is reasonable that Trump would get assassinated? Replay gang, do your thing.
And no one will say that, but I don't know how you can reach that conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, they have decided, permanent Washington, both parties have decided that there's something about Trump that's so threatening to them, they just can't have him. I mean, they're putting him on trial in March of next year in the J6 case, which basically consists of trying to send him to prison for the rest of his life for complaining about the last election. That's literally what it is.
And if you think about it, this is the same type of conversation or the same line of questioning that came with Andrew Tate, that he was, they tried to smear his name. Then they banned him off everything. Then they debanked him. Then they arrested him. And he keeps coming back. And so he keeps saying, I will not self-delete. I will not self-delete. Because what Tucker's talking about is exactly what is going on with Tate, is exactly the same line of reasoning with Trump. Zippy says, as soon as it pops up here, no, he's still a puppet of the system. He's a great distraction. I don't know about all that. What made Trump is a puppet of the system?
I think he's talking about Tucker.
Which one are you talking about? Because
I disagree with both.
I was gonna say I disagree with both, but I could see a little bit more wiggle room with Tucker. So Zippy, which one do you mean? Unwanted Foe said, how could it be reasonable for him to get ended? It would only be reasonable if he was some kind of warlord. No, isn't it reasonable? Damn it. Okay, all right. No, I'm gonna redo this one. We're gonna do this one. All right, I'm gonna play this and rephrase it because that's not what I meant.
Again, if this were happening in Moldova, the State Department would issue an all-hands-on-deck order to let the world know this is not a legitimate government, and yet our government is doing it. It's like it's hard to overstate how bad this is, and I don't know where it's going, but there's a collision that's clearly imminent. And by the way, the president is senile in a way that's impossible to deny.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other point. So let's we're redoing that one. Thank you to Unwanted Foe. I like that vague, the vague terminology, but we do want to be precise enough that we're asking the right question. So I've changed the poll to: is it reasonable to think that Trump would get Shout out to Dan Jensen. Welcome to Dan the Man Jensen. So this looks so funny. It looks like it looks like Melted is put by the kiddie table, but Jesus is supposed to look down on all the people.
If there's one way I can make Lutch look tall, I'm happy to do it.
See, that's what friends are for. That's what friends are for. So yeah, no, he was saying no. Trump is a puppet of the system. He's not doing anything new and different except talking crap. They all talk crap. I gotta disagree with you hard there, bro.
Zippy, I think you're looking too much at the talking crap part, talking crap part than the policies part. Mm-hmm. And you can definitely, his policies work. We all know what his policies are. They're the same that he had in 2016. Why would he continue to talk about his policies when we know them? He needs to keep dogging on these other politicians and show the world how bad they actually are. We already know we already know what he is pushing. What's like, are you supposed to push more? Like, we need to even be more conservative than what we already were. It's like,
well, I get the idea that, if you think like, oh, he made all of these promises and then he gets into office and then doesn't do the things that he promised. First of all, he didn't just drop the ball completely. But we knew that he was not a career politician and that this was not his, his area of expertise. So, call it an excuse, call it whatever you want. But the fact that he didn't know exactly how to do everything exactly right, that doesn't mean that he can't learn. And that's why people are calling this Trump's revenge, because it only takes to go in there and see how the sausage is made to be like, okay, I need to do this next time. So I don't know. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.